Welcome to my channel, where your adventure into the future starts right now. Step into a vibrant universe filled with groundbreaking technology, breathtaking alien landscapes, and exhilarating sci-fi narratives that challenge your imagination. From daring explorations of distant galaxies to haunting journeys through dystopian societies, we uncover the most captivating stories and innovative ideas that will shape the world of tomorrow. Subscribe today and join us on an incredible intergalactic voyage that promises to inspire and thrill. In the far future, Earth had become something unanticipated by the galactic community, not a battleground, nor a strategic outpost, nor a military powerhouse. No, Earth had transformed into the heart of a new kind of network, a galaxy-wide volunteer organization that sought to bring together the scattered civilizations of the universe under a single, selfless banner. It was a hub of goodwill, an engine of compassion, and a model of cooperation that redefined the way interstellar societies operated. To those who had once viewed humanity as a primitive species, still clinging to their fragile homeworld, this was unthinkable. But it happened, slowly at first, and then with an unstoppable momentum, fueled by the undeniable energy of a species that believed in the goodness of others and the power of shared purpose. The seeds for this transformation were sown long before humanity's rise to prominence in the galaxy. In the early years of space exploration, as humanity expanded from its cradle on Earth, it encountered other species, some advanced, some still struggling with their own survival. But humanity was never content to simply conquer or colonize. Instead, they sought to help, to understand, and to elevate. This mindset was ingrained in their society, fostered through centuries of overcoming their own challenges. The pursuit of knowledge, peace, and mutual benefit became the foundation of their galactic identity. It began with humanitarian missions. Earth's first few interactions with alien species were centered on aid. The first ships sent to other worlds were not armed with weapons, but with medics, engineers, and ecologists tasked with helping other species rebuild, heal, or sustain their environments. The sheer novelty of this approach left many skeptical. The galaxy was full of powerful civilizations with long histories of warfare, expansionism, and domination. The idea that a race of beings who had just ventured beyond their planet would seek to assist others without any expectation of compensation was seen as naive at best and dangerous at worst. Yet, there was something about the human spirit that resonated deeply with others. Their belief in the possibility of a better future, their willingness to sacrifice for the well-being of others, and their sheer perseverance in the face of overwhelming odds attracted attention. In a galaxy that had long been ruled by the harsh realities of survival and power dynamics, the human's message was radical: we are all in this together. And so, one mission at a time, Earth's reputation grew. No longer were they just the upstarts, the new species with grand ideas. They were the compassionate allies, the friends who would help rebuild your shattered world, the diplomats who could mediate even the bitterest of feuds. Their ships became a familiar sight in troubled regions of the galaxy, where entire civilizations were crippled by war, ecological collapse, or internal strife. As humanity's reputation spread, more and more species came to Earth, seeking their help. In time, the humans established a network of volunteers, a vast and ever-growing system where those who sought to help others could connect with those who needed aid. The Earth-based organization, initially a small initiative, began to grow exponentially. What started as a few dozen volunteers helping rebuild devastated worlds expanded into thousands, and then millions, from every corner of the galaxy. The network's primary goal was simple: to provide help where it was needed, whether that meant rebuilding infrastructure on a war-torn planet, offering medical support to a species on the brink of extinction, or assisting in ecological restoration efforts. Earth became the center of this growing web, the command hub for the largest volunteer organization the galaxy had ever seen. The volunteer network, as it came to be known, wasn't just about charity, it was about partnership. Humanity's gift was not just their ability to provide aid, but their ability to teach, to empower. Earth's volunteers were not there to simply perform the work that others couldn't do, they were there to collaborate, to share knowledge, and to foster self-sufficiency. Human engineers worked side by side with alien species to rebuild cities. Doctors trained local medical practitioners in advanced techniques. Ecologists showed species how to heal their ecosystems without depending on outside aid. This approach created a ripple effect throughout the galaxy as the networks of knowledge and cooperation began to spread. But what truly set Earth apart was not just the scale of the volunteer efforts, but the philosophy that drove them. The idea was rooted deeply in the human ideal of selflessness. Human volunteers gave their time, their skills, and their resources without expectation of payment. They believed that the universe, for all its vastness and complexity, was a shared space, one that could only be truly understood and appreciated when cooperation replaced competition. This ideology resonated with other species, many of whom had suffered for centuries under systems of exploitation, greed, and warfare. Slowly, this ideal of universal cooperation began to take hold across the galaxy, and Earth became the center of that transformation. As the volunteer network grew, so did the scope of its influence. The galactic community, once divided by countless rivalries, slowly began to look to Earth not just for aid, but for guidance. The values embodied by Earth's volunteers, compassion, understanding, collaboration, became a model for others. It wasn't long before other species, inspired by humanity's example, began to form their own volunteer networks. What had started as a human initiative quickly became a universal movement, with thousands of species joining forces to help one another, to heal old wounds, and to build a future based not on dominance but on shared responsibility. The network's reach was staggering. It wasn't just the most developed species or the most powerful civilizations that volunteered, it was everyone. The Galactic Volunteer Movement was open to any species, any individual who wanted to make a difference. Whether you were a scholar from the peaceful, verdant world of the Volari, or a former soldier from the war-torn planet of Drosk, the opportunity to give back, to contribute to the greater good, was available to all. As more species contributed to the volunteer network, Earth's influence grew. The planet became the central meeting place for representatives from every corner of the galaxy. The network's headquarters, located on Earth, became a bustling hub of activity, planning missions, coordinating resources, and bringing together the best minds from across the universe. What had once been a single species, isolated in a corner of the cosmos, was now the beating heart of a galaxy-wide movement for the betterment of all sentient life. One of the most impressive aspects of the Earth-based volunteer network was its adaptability. Different species had different needs, and the network was flexible enough to meet those needs. For some civilizations, the greatest challenges were ecological planets suffering from deforestation, soil erosion, or pollution. For others, the challenges were more social, rebuilding economies shattered by war, or helping to mediate peace agreements between long-standing enemies. There were planets where the inhabitants were so war-weary that they had lost the will to rebuild, and there were species struggling to understand basic concepts of cooperation. Earth's volunteers, with their wide range of skills and unwavering commitment to service, found ways to address all of these issues. Humanity's approach was never condescending or paternalistic. Earth's volunteers worked alongside their alien counterparts, treating them as equals. They recognized that every species had its own unique strengths, its own knowledge, and its own way of doing things. Human volunteers didn't come as saviors, they came as partners, as facilitators of growth and healing. It was this mutual respect that made the network so effective, and it was this spirit of equality that transformed the galaxy. As the centuries passed, the volunteer network became more than just an organization. It became a cultural movement, a new way of seeing the universe and humanity's place within it. The notion that survival was not a solitary endeavor, but something that could only be achieved through collective effort, spread across the stars. Earth became a symbol not just of human potential, but of the potential for all species to work together for a common good. The planet had transformed from a world ravaged by war, pollution, and inequality into a beacon of hope, a shining example of what could be achieved when people and species put aside their differences and worked for something greater than themselves. In this new era, the concept of trade evolved. No longer was trade about commodities or resources exchanged for profit. The new galactic trade was the trade of knowledge, the exchange of goodwill, the offer of resources and labor without the expectation of anything in return. Species traded expertise in agriculture, engineering, medicine, and ecology. They traded the lessons they had learned from their own struggles. They traded their time, their energy, their hearts, and in return, they received the same. Earth was no longer a backwater world on the fringe of the galaxy. It was the epicenter of a universal movement, a beacon that shone brighter than any supernova, reminding every sentient species that they were not alone in the vastness of space. The volunteer network was not just about humanitarian aid, it was a testament to what could be accomplished when species chose to live for one another, not for themselves. The universe was still vast and dangerous, but for the first time in millennia, it was also connected a network of shared responsibility, where everyone had something to offer and everyone was welcome. And so, Earth became a symbol of what humanity could achieve when it looked beyond its own survival and towards the survival of all. It was no longer just the home of humanity, it was the home of a galaxy-wide movement, a sanctuary for those who believed in the power of selfless action, and a place where the light of hope burned brighter than ever before.